Poor Waitress fed 5 broke bikers, said no to payment. 48 hours later, 500 Hell's Angels surrounded. It was a rainy Thursday evening when Lily, a young waitress at the small-town diner, Sunnyside Cafe, wiped down the counters for the 100th time that day. The diner was almost empty, except for a group of 5 men who walked in with worn leather jackets, faded jeans, and the unmistakable aura of people who had spent more nights on the road than in a bed. The bell above the door jingled as they entered, and Lily noticed immediately the tattoos snaking up their arms, their rough hands gripping coffee mugs like they'd seen too many fights and too little kindness. But there was something different about them tonight. They didn't swagger, didn't shout. They were tired, hungry, and, strangely, almost apologetic as they slid into a booth. "Evening," Lily said cautiously, offering a smile that was both warm and wary. "Evening," one of the men replied, his voice gravelly. 5 coffees. 5 plates of your heaviest breakfast. Please." She nodded, moving quickly to the kitchen. She noticed how the diner's warm lights reflected off their leather jackets, how their boots were scuffed, and how their faces bore the kind of wear that only years of hardship could carve. By the time she returned, the food was sizzling, the coffee steaming, and the men were hunched over their plates, eating as if they hadn't had a meal in days. "You don't have enough cash?" she asked carefully as she set down the last plate. The tallest of the 5 shook his head. We ran out a couple towns back. It's been a rough stretch." Lily paused for a heartbeat, looking at them. She saw the exhaustion in their eyes, the way one of them's hands trembled slightly as he reached for his coffee. And in that moment, something in her decided for her. "Don't worry about it," she said firmly. "Consider it on the house." The men froze, exchanging glances. The tallest one chuckled, a sound that was equal parts disbelief and relief. "You sure?" he asked. "Positive," she said with a shrug. "Just eat. Warm up. You all look like you need it." They ate, slower now, savoring each bite like it was a rare treasure. Lily kept busy, pretending to clean while secretly keeping an eye on them. For the first time that night, she saw them relax. One of the men, who had a scar running from his temple to his jaw, gave her a faint nod of thanks. Another, younger, with curly hair peeking out from under his bandana, smiled, a genuine, unguarded smile. By the time they left, the rain had stopped, and the streets were glistening under the diner's neon lights. They didn't leave a dime, but they left behind something heavier, a sense of gratitude and an unspoken promise of memory. Lily didn't think much of it at first. Her days were long, and the town was quiet. But 2 days later, things started to change. It began with the rumble of motorcycles. 1, then 2, then dozens, rolling into town with a low, throbbing hum that shook windows and made the cats scatter. Lily stepped out of the diner just as the first 100 bikes turned into the parking lot. Her heart raced. And then she saw them, 5 familiar faces leading the pack. The same men she had fed. They stopped near the diner, dismounting with a grace that only seasoned riders had. The tallest of the 5 approached her, this time without any leather jacket concealment, revealing a plain black t-shirt and jeans, his eyes kind but serious. "Lily," he said, his voice carrying over the roar of engines, "we need to talk." Before she could ask what was happening, the rest of the group joined him. It was no longer 5, they were 500 strong, the local chapter of the Hell's Angels, a name that carried fear and respect in equal measure. They surrounded the diner in a careful, orderly formation, engines idling, a soft thunder filling the night. Panic began to rise in Lily's chest, but the man raised his hand. "Come. We're not here to hurt you. Not tonight, not ever. We came because of what you did." "Me," she stammered, stepping back. "You fed us," he said simply. 5 broke bikers. You said no payment. You showed kindness when you had every right to refuse. That's rare." The crowd behind him murmured agreement, a low, respectful growl that made her hair stand on end. They weren't threatening, they were honoring. "We could have taken something," he continued, "but we don't take from people like you. So we wanted to show our thanks." One of the bikers handed her a small, battered box. She opened it, revealing stacks of bills, enough to cover months of bills, with a note, "For the kindness you showed. The world needs more people like you." Tears welled in her eyes as the man added, "Not just the money. We want you to know that what you did, feeding 5 hungry souls without a thought for yourself, changed how we see the world. We ride rough, we live hard, but your heart reminded us that there's still good out there." The night stretched on as the bikers shared stories of their travels, their lives, and the small mercies that had kept them going. Lily listened, fascinated, laughing at their humor and marveling at the sense of brotherhood that held the group together. She had expected danger, chaos, perhaps even fear, but instead, she found respect, gratitude, and a strange warmth she hadn't felt in years. When the last bike roared out of town, the diner quieted down again, and Lily sat on the steps, staring at the neon glow reflecting off the wet pavement. She felt a shift inside her, a realization that sometimes, the smallest act of kindness could ripple far beyond one person's understanding. She knew the story of the 5 broke bikers wouldn't leave town, nor would it leave her. And as the first rays of dawn crept over the horizon, Lily smiled, knowing she had touched lives in a way she never could have imagined. Sometimes, she thought, the world is rough, loud, and unforgiving, but all it takes is one kind heart to remind everyone that there's still hope. And on that rainy Thursday, Lily had been that heart.